Hello, and if you're watching this, you might be the person who made a special request. And if you're watching it and you're not that person, then you can thank the person who made a special request to see some extra proofs. So if you go to that packet that I gave you today with the segment and angle addition and subtraction, I'm going to do a few of the proofs in there, and just to give you a little reinforcement. So let's look at proof number 6 first, which is practice subtracting angles. It's kind of towards the back of the packet. And we're just going to kind of go through the steps again. So the first thing we want to do is we want to list our given, and I'm going to convert it right over to the measure of the angles because I know that I want to be adding and substituting things. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that in the first step. Then I also have that second given in there too. Okay, so that's just all in one step, kind of, if you will, so to speak. These are all kind of the same step. All right. And that is allowed as long as you're using the same reasons for those. Okay, so now what I do is I take a look at what angle subtraction really means. And that's saying I'm taking that big angle, CDA, I'm subtracting the measure of angle 2 from that measure, and I get angle 1. So really it's saying kind of if I take this big angle here and I subtract angle 2 from it, okay, then I'm left with angle 1. And likewise, if I subtract angle 3 from EDA, I'm left with angle 4. Now is where, this is, typically where students have a little bit of trouble, but really all you're doing is you're taking this part here, measure of CDA, okay, measure of CDA minus the measure of angle 2, minus the measure of angle 2, and I'm just subtracting equal things from equal quantities. So equal minus equal is equal, okay? So there we go. Now we're all color-coded. All right, so that is strictly just the, I'm just playing around here, don't mind me. I want to get that out of there. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're just subtracting equal quantities from something that was equal. It's just a subtraction property of equality. And then I can notice that in fact, this is the same thing as this, right? And I can use substitution to plug those in. So measure of angle 1 would be equal to the measure of angle 4 by substitution, and that should technically be steps 2 and 3. So why don't we correct that, and you can write it correctly on your page. That's steps 2 and 3, because I'm subtracting this I'm substituting this quantity. I'm substituting, measure of angle 1 for measure of CDA minus measure of angle 2, and angle 4 for EDA minus measure of angle 3. Okay? And then you can go ahead and do the last step, which is basically going to be just converting it back over to congruent. So that one should be all set for you now, hopefully. Okay? We understand sort of what's going on there. And I'm going to do one more on these angles for you. So if we page down and we look at this picture, I'm given that RSX is congruent to RSY and that 5 is congruent to 6, and I'm trying to get 3 congruent to 4. So I start off with my givens. Again, I'm going to list all of them and say that they are the givens and that congruent implies equal, or definition of congruent. Then I'm going to use angle subtraction to get RSX minus 5 is going to give me angle 3, and RSY minus 6 is going to give me angle 4. And that is angle subtraction. Then I go ahead and I look at my first 2 steps, and I have, if I take RSX, measure of RSX, minus the measure of angle 5, that's going to be equal to the measure of RSY minus measure of angle 6, simply by pure mathematical algebraic manipulation. That's it. Doesn't involve any geometric properties, just subtraction property of equality, subtracting equal quantities from both sides. And then in fact I can notice that here I have another duplicate, RSX minus measure of angle 5 here, RSX minus measure of angle 5. So I'm substituting in measure of angle 3 for that. And then I would likewise substitute in measure of angle 4 for this. Okay? And so I'm going to get measure of angle 3 equals measure of angle 4 by substitution steps 2 and 3. And then I use congruent to get back where I need to be. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better understanding of this. And if you want to practice on some of those, I can take a look at yours tomorrow. And you can kind of save this packet to do extra practice in. And we will continue to work with proofs. Actually, you'll be happy to hear this, not tomorrow, but continually as we go. But tomorrow we're going to do something a little different. Mix it up a little for you. All right. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.